All right, let's dive into this fascinating world of consciousness and mind and reality.
Yeah.
We've got a really interesting mix of sources today I'm excited to dig into.
Yeah, me too.
We've got excerpts from Consciousness, Control, and Ascension and the Book of Wisdom, and even a YouTube lecture that promises to change how we see the world forever.
It's a tall order. We'll see how they do. Should be interesting to look at those different sources and see how they connect.
Absolutely, and we're going to be talking about the interconnectedness of our minds, the power of the subconscious, even the influence of Saturn on our reality.
Wow.
Buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready.
And I think you might be surprised to hear that we're even going to be drawing connections to pop culture.
Okay.
We'll use examples like the Sims video game and the Mr. Bean TV show to illustrate these concepts.
That's quite the range.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So let's start with this concept that's central to today's dive. The idea that you are not your body.
Ah, yes. This is a fundamental concept that's explored in all of our sources.
Okay.
It suggests that our true essence is consciousness, an invisible intelligence that inhabits and experiences the body, not the body itself.
So it's like we're playing a video game, like The Sims. You're controlling the character, but you're not the character yourself.
That's exactly the analogy that Harry B. Joseph uses in his lecture to highlight this distinction between our consciousness and our physical form.
Okay, I see.
We are the players.
Not the avatars.
Right.
So where does this idea of the Ankh fit in? I know it's an ancient Egyptian symbol.
Yeah.
But what does it represent in this context of consciousness?
Well, the Ankh is often interpreted as a symbol of life force or vital energy emanating from a single source of consciousness.
Okay.
And it ties into the idea that we are all expressions of a unified consciousness, each inhabiting individual bodies.
So we're all connected at a deeper level beyond our physical forms. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But if we're not our bodies, then what about this reality we experience? What is this world we find ourselves in?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Our sources suggest that the universe as we experience it is actually mental. It's a projection of mind.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that reality is all in our head?
Not exactly in our heads, but rather a product of consciousness, like a shared dream that we're all participating in.
That makes me think something Harry B. Joseph said in his lecture. He said, your reality is your level of realization.
Oh, that's a good one.
What does that even mean?
Well, it means that our perception shapes our reality.
Okay.
What we focus on, what we believe, influences the experiences we have.
So if I'm constantly focusing on, like, negative things, I'm more likely to experience negativity.
Exactly. Your beliefs and expectations act as filters, shaping how you perceive the world.
Whoa, that's a bit scary.
It is.
But also kind of empowering in a way.
It is, yeah.
It makes you think, like, how much control do we really have over our lives?
That is a great question, and one we'll continue to explore as we dive deeper into the workings of the mind.
Especially the subconscious.
Especially the subconscious, yeah.
Speaking of the subconscious, what exactly is this interconnected mental plane?
Well, you can imagine it as a vast invisible network
Okay.
where all minds are connected, constantly exchanging information and influencing each other.
So like a giant invisible internet for thoughts.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a pretty wild idea.
It is. It's a pretty radical concept.
But it would explain a lot about how we impact each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes without even realizing it. Like when I hang out with my friend who always complains, I always feel drained afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Is that an example of the interconnected mental plane at work? Like their negativity is spilling over into my own mental space.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that you're picking up on your friend's negative energy through this interconnected mental plane.
That's interesting. So I guess I need to figure out how to protect my own energy in those situations. But first, I want to hear more about this connection between music and the subconscious. Because you're telling me that that catchy tune stuck in my head might actually be rewiring my subconscious.
It's possible.
That's both fascinating and a little creepy.
It is a little bit of both.
So how does that work? Give me an example.
Well, think about the power of repetition,
Okay.
especially when it comes to music. Those catchy choruses and pop songs, they're often designed to create thought loops.
Oh, so they're programming us through music.
Not necessarily programming us in a sinister way,
Okay.
but definitely influencing our thoughts and emotions.
Yeah, like those jingles that get stuck in your head and make you crave a certain product. You're saying it goes deeper than just advertising.
Absolutely. The repetition of certain phrases, combined with the emotional impact of the music, can have a powerful influence on our subconscious mind, shaping our beliefs and behaviors over time.
Wow, that earworm I can't get out of my head might actually be doing more than just annoying me.
It very well could be.
So this whole subconscious programming thing seems like a big deal according to these sources.
Yeah, they all talk about how important it is.
Why? Why is it so important?
Well, the subconscious mind, according to our sources, controls something like 90% of our mental activity.
90%.
90%.
Wow.
Which means that it's the driving force behind most of our behaviors, our beliefs, and our reactions.
Okay, so if we're not aware of what's going on in our subconscious, it's basically calling the shots.
Pretty much.
It's kind of freaky.
Yeah, a little bit. But the first step, like we said, is awareness.
Okay.
Becoming aware of these programs is the first step towards taking back control.
And what are these mental programs anyway? Where do they come from?
Think of them as patterns of thought and behavior that develop through repetition and emotional impact.
Mm-hmm.
Early childhood experience, societal conditioning,
Okay.
even those catchy song lyrics we talked about, it all contributes to these programs.
So if we're running on these programs most of the time, are we even in control of our own lives?
That is a great question, and that's something that we're going to keep exploring.
Okay.
But our sources definitely suggest that awareness is the first step towards taking back control.
So we can kind of rewrite the script, so to speak.
Exactly. It's not about erasing the programs entirely, but understanding how they influence us
Mm-hmm.
and then choosing whether to let them dictate our actions
Okay.
or not.
So this brings us to another interesting character in our sources. Saturn, the planet. What does that have to do with all of this?
Yeah, you might be surprised to hear that Saturn, in many esoteric traditions, actually represents limitations, the material realm, the structures that kind of bind us.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a negative force, but it can be abused to keep consciousness trapped in this cycle of fear, survival mode, and materialism.
So if our subconscious is programmed with these fear-based thought loops, we're basically stuck in like Saturn mode.
Great way to put it.
Always striving, always seeking,
Yeah,
never truly free.
exactly. And that brings us to the concept of the soul trap.
So what is this soul trap thing all about? How does it even work?
Well, the soul trap, it refers to the possibility that our consciousness can actually become entangled in lower vibrational realms even after death.
Whoa, after death. So even after we die, we can still be trapped.
Yeah, the idea is that if we haven't learned to let go of certain attachments and desires during our life, those same desires, those same attachments can actually keep us bound to these lower realms.
That's heavy.
It is.
So how do we avoid getting caught in this trap? Balancing our energies, activating that pineal gland.
Yeah.
Are those the keys to like breaking free?
They're all part of it.
Okay.
But the real key, the foundation of all of this is awareness. Harry B. Joseph, he says it best. Your reality is your level of realization. It all comes down to waking up to the true nature of reality.
Okay.
Recognizing that the physical world is just one layer of a much grander existence.
So if we're like so caught up in the illusion of the material world, we become trapped by it. But if we can like wake up and realize that it's all a mental construct, then we gain the power to transcend it.
Yes.
Even after death.
Even after death. That's the idea.
Whoa, that is mind-blowing.
It is.
But where do we even begin? What are some practical steps we can take to start raising our vibration and breaking free?
Well, our sources, they offer several practices, and they all revolve around cultivating a higher level of awareness, both physically and spiritually. And one of those key elements is, and this might sound a little bit surprising, diet.
Diet. You're saying that what we eat can actually affect our spiritual growth.
Absolutely.
Really?
The foods we consume, they have a direct impact on our vibrational frequency.
Okay.
A diet that's heavy in processed foods, sugar, artificial ingredients, that tends to lower our vibration.
So like junk food.
Basically. While a diet that is rich in fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains can help raise it.
So ditching the junk food and opting for healthier options isn't just good for our bodies,
Right.
but also for our spiritual well-being.
That's the idea.
Interesting. Okay, I can definitely get behind that. What else? What other practices are there?
Another practice that often comes up is the retention of sexual energy.
Okay, wait, hold on a second before we go there.
Yeah.
I think we need some clarification. We're not talking about suppressing our sexuality, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
It's about understanding the power of sexual energy
Okay.
and learning to channel it towards spiritual growth.
Okay, so how does retaining sexual energy actually connect to spiritual development?
In many esoteric traditions, they view sexual energy as a very powerful life force, a creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
That can be harnessed, it can be transmuted into higher forms of expression.
Okay.
So instead of releasing this energy outwardly, we can consciously channel it inwards to fuel our spiritual growth.
So it's like taking that raw energy and transforming it into something more refined,
That's a great way to put it.
something that can elevate our consciousness.
It's about recognizing the sacredness of this energy and using it consciously.
Okay, it's like mastering our energy
Yeah,
instead of letting it master us.
right, exactly.
So we've got diet, we've got transmutation of sexual energy.
Mhm.
Now, how about that pineal gland?
Yes, the pineal gland.
How do we activate this mysterious seat of consciousness?
Right.
Our sources, they talk about this thing called raising the Christos oil.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, so that term Christos oil can be a little bit confusing because people often interpret it literally.
Okay.
But in this context, it's really a metaphor for spiritual energy, that vital life force,
Okay.
that when it's awakened, it can lead to expanded awareness and spiritual enlightenment.
So raising the Christos oil isn't about like some physical substance.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about activating this dormant spiritual energy within us.
Exactly.
Got it.
And this ties into the idea of ascension as a journey of rising through the chakras,
Okay.
balancing the male and female aspects of the mind, and ultimately transcending the limitations of the physical body and the programmed mind.
I see. It's like we're piecing together a cosmic puzzle, each concept connecting to the others in this like tapestry of knowledge.
I like that. That's a great analogy.
Okay, so we've got diet, transmutation of sexual energy, activation of the pineal gland, all as key practices for raising our vibration, expanding our consciousness. What else can we do to support this process?
Well, meditation is a powerful tool that's mentioned in several of our sources.
Yeah, I've heard that meditation can be really helpful,
It is.
but I've always struggled with it, to be honest. Mine just won't stop chattering.
It's a common challenge. The key is to approach meditation with a sense of playfulness, almost like a curiosity. Don't worry about clearing your mind. Instead, just focus on your breath and gently guide your attention back to the present moment whenever your mind wanders.
Okay, so it's not about like forcing our minds to be silent. It's more about like training our attention and becoming more aware of those thought patterns.
Exactly. It's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like any skill, it takes time and patience.
Got it. Okay, meditation's on my list.
Our sources also emphasize the importance of positive thinking. And it's not about denying the negative, but rather consciously choosing to focus on the positive, cultivating a more optimistic and empowering mindset.
So it's about shifting our perspective, choosing to see the good even when things are tough, and then like using our thoughts to create a more positive reality.
Exactly. Because our thoughts are energy.
Right.
And what we focus on expands.
Okay, that makes sense.
By choosing to focus on the positive,
Uh,
we attract more positivity into our lives, and we contribute to a higher vibrational reality.
So we've talked about all this interconnectedness, this mental plane,
Right.
but doesn't that mean we're also susceptible to like negativity and fear that's out there?
That's a great question, and it brings us back to the concept of protecting our energy.
Right, because just as we can be influenced by positive energy, we can also be affected by negative energy. So how do we like shield ourselves from all the negativity?
That's something we'll explore in more detail in the next part of our dive.
Okay.
We'll look at specific techniques for setting those energetic boundaries, clearing negative energy, and cultivating a really strong sense of inner peace and resilience.
I'm looking forward to that. This has been an amazing journey so far.
It has.
We've covered so much, from
Yeah.
subconscious to the pineal gland.
Yeah.
This idea of reality as a mental projection. Wow.
It's a lot.
It is, but I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface.
I think we are too. There's always more to explore.
So much more.
Yeah.
What else is in store for us in this final part?
In the final part, we're going to dive even deeper into the concept of the soul trap
Okay.
and really examine what it means to live in a mental universe.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also look at specific techniques for protecting our energy, raising our vibration, and ultimately creating the reality that we desire.
This is so exciting. I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Me neither.
The final leg of our journey is about to begin. From the power of the subconscious to the mysteries of the pineal gland and so much more.